If you're serious about flirting, dating, or even building a long-term relationship, there's something you need to understand now, not later. The wrong woman won't just waste your time. She'll drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and quietly pull you off your path. And the worst part? Most men don't even see it coming until they've already sacrificed their peace, their confidence, or their future. Machiavelli said it best. Your downfall rarely comes from enemies. It comes from who you let too close. This video isn't about bitterness or blaming women. It's about strategy. Because in today's world, charm can be a mask. Manipulation can look like love. And if you don't know how to read the signs, you'll end up giving the best of yourself to someone who only takes. So I'm breaking down the 6 most dangerous types of women to avoid in flirting, dating, and relationships. Not out of fear, but out of clarity. Because the truth is, you will meet some of these types one day. And if you don't recognize them early, it might cost you more than you think. Stay until the end, because type 6 is the most subtle, the most disguised, and the one that destroys men slowly without ever raising a red flag. Let's get into it. 1. The woman who only wants attention. She doesn't like you. She likes the way your attention makes her feel. She's the woman who flirts with you, responds just enough to keep you hooked, but disappears the second you stop feeding her ego. She posts thirst traps. She replies late. She never makes real plans, but still wants you available at any moment. She doesn't date. She auditions fans. How to spot her? She loves compliments but rarely gives any back. She always forgets to reply unless she's bored or feeling low. Your conversations go in circles. No depth, no plans, no progress. Here's what it looks like when she just wants your attention. You message her, "Hey, want to grab coffee this weekend?" She replies 8 hours later, "Thanks, that's sweet." Then nothing. No plan, no follow-up. 2 days later, she posts a selfie captioned, "Bored, someone take me out." Machiavelli would say, attention is currency, and when someone only takes without giving, they're not your partner, they're your master. 2. The woman who needs to win. She doesn't want a partner and grow with you. She wants someone to beat. This is the woman who turns every conversation into a competition. If you talk about your success, she one-ups you. If you're happy about something, she downplays it. She needs to feel superior. And if you start growing too fast, she'll either attack, sabotage, or leave. How to spot her? She can't celebrate your wins without making them about her. She gives subtle jabs disguised as jokes. She gets distant when you're doing well, and warm again when you're struggling. Here's how it feels when everything turns into a competition. You proudly tell her, "I finally got the promotion." She smiles, then says, "Cool, my ex made double that at your age." You're left feeling like your win just got stepped on. In dating, this becomes emotional warfare. In marriage, it becomes resentment, control, and slow destruction. 3. The woman who hides her heart. You'll open up, she'll shut down, and you'll blame yourself. She gives just enough to stay in your life, but never enough to build real intimacy. You always feel like you're chasing connection that never fully arrives. She's not loud. She's emotionally distant, guarded, and sometimes cold. But instead of asking for what she needs, she punishes with silence or disinterest. How to spot her? She avoids emotional conversations, even when you open up. Affection, attention, and warmth feel like a reward you have to earn. You always feel like you're one step away from being good enough. This is what it's like to be with someone emotionally distant. You open up. "Sometimes I feel like you're not really into this." She replies flatly, "Well, I'm here, aren't I?" No warmth, no reassurance, just enough to keep you guessing. You'll feel drained, confused, and convinced you're doing something wrong, when in fact, she's just not emotionally available. 4. The woman who acts perfect. She says the right things until things don't go her way. This woman sees relationships like a performance. She acts the way she thinks she's supposed to act. Nice, supportive, maybe even sexy. But it's all surface. Under pressure, the mask slips. Suddenly, the sweet woman becomes passive-aggressive, manipulative, or controlling. She doesn't love you. She loves the idea of the perfect relationship, as long as she gets to control the script. How to spot her? You notice big mood swings, especially when she doesn't get her way. She often brings up what other couples are doing. She's obsessed with appearances, online and in public, but the private connection feels thin. Here's what happens when the mask starts to slip. In public, she's sweet, affectionate, says you're her king. In private, she ignores your messages, mocks your ideas, criticizes your tone. You ask, "What changed?" She smiles. "You're just being sensitive." This kind of woman can look great on paper, but being with her feels like walking on eggshells, and that tension will eat you alive. 5. The woman who manipulates gently. She won't control you with orders. She'll use guilt, silence, and subtle pressure. In other words, she never tells you what to do, but somehow, you're always doing what she wants. This woman doesn't use control by force. She uses suggestion, guilt, and strategic emotion. She might play the victim. She might use jealousy. She might withdraw love just long enough to make you chase it back. How to spot her? You feel confused after conversations, like you agreed to something without meaning to. She praises you only when you do what she wanted anyway. You change your behavior to avoid her reactions, not because you believe it's right. This is how soft manipulation shows up in real life. You say, "I need tonight to focus on work." She replies, "Wow, I guess I'm not a priority." Now you feel bad and spend the evening texting instead of building your life. Machiavelli would call this soft control. It feels like freedom, but it's a leash you don't see. 6. The woman who sweetly holds you back from your goals. She says she supports you, while slowly killing your ambition. This is the most dangerous type, because she seems like a dream. She's supportive, kind, and says all the right things, but little by little, she pulls you off your path. She'll never say, "Don't chase your goals," but she'll pout when you're too focused. She'll never forbid ambition, but she'll quietly make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. She wants a version of you that's smaller, softer, and easier to manage. How to spot her? You feel like you're betraying her every time you grow. She says she supports you, but her energy shifts when you level up. You start sacrificing your goals, not because she asked, but because you wanted to keep the peace. Here's what it sounds like when someone supports you while slowing you down. You tell her, "I want to start a business or work more hours. I'm going to need to work nights for a while." She says gently, "I support you, babe, but I miss when you had more time for me." You don't argue. You start working less. And little by little, your dream dies, with a smile. Machiavelli warned about soft enemies that use kindness to control. This is that, in love form. To conclude, avoiding women like this isn't about being paranoid or cold. It's about protecting your peace before it gets stolen. Because here's the truth. The wrong woman doesn't just hurt your heart. She changes who you are. She distracts you from your goals. She makes you question your worth. She pulls you so far off your path that one day, you wake up and don't recognize yourself anymore. That's why being careful isn't weak. It's wise. So slow down. Watch how she talks. Watch how you feel around her. Don't just ask, "Do I like her?" Ask, "Do I respect who I become when I'm with her?" Because dating isn't about finding someone who just looks good on your arm. It's about building a life with someone who makes you sharper, stronger, and more at peace, not more confused. Machiavelli didn't warn us about loud enemies. He warned us about quiet allies who slowly drain us. And when it comes to women, or anyone close, that's often where the real damage happens. So stay alert, stay grounded. Choose not with impulse, but with clarity. The wrong person takes years from you. The right one helps you rise in every area. You don't need to be cold. You just need to be conscious. Now, choose wisely. If this spoke to you, don't just keep it in your head. Write a comment, even just a few words. It helps you remember, and it might help someone else too. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content, and share this with someone who, in your eyes, needs it right now. Just trust your instinct. We're all trying to get clearer, more solid inside. So let's build minds that don't break.